It's about the cars that the guys want to work with on the handling team and the physics programmers and everywhere else in the studio. So very much picking the cream of the crop, looking at the very best the automotive industry has to offer and putting those into games so that we can sit there 9 to 5 Monday to Friday, and then probably even weekends because we love them that much to get the handling just right. We're grouping all the cars in the game into 4 tiers, tiers 1 to 4. These are sort of based on performance, so we're not restricting groupings to say engine size or brake horsepower, but we're grouping cars together that we feel could naturally perform against each other on the track. That gives us the freedom to put sort of US muscle cars up against European classics, perhaps sort of lightweight vehicles that are more agile up against heavier vehicles with more brake horsepower. The power to weight is going to be about the same.
You get some really nice historical traditional battles which you'll be able to fight out actually during the game.
And with regard to the car selection, we're not talking about bland, soulless cars. We're looking at the very best that the industry has to offer. So from the very start of the game, we're looking at dropping the player into, say, like a old school American muscle car, 600 brake horsepower, so they'll be enjoying themselves from the off. Basically, if it's the best in class and excels at what it does, it deserves to be in Grid 2.
When you start in the game, the cars will be slightly easier to play. They'll be equally as fun, but the learning curve won't be as steep. So you'll pick up a car which is slightly slower, but you'll still be able to hero drift it around all the corners, get the back end down, and sort of counter steer and do all that kind of thing. And then as you progress through the tiers, they'll get quicker. It might require you to have a little bit more skill.
We're definitely trying to get depth to the handling, so that at a base level, that you could pick the car up and play it and get it around the track. But when you really want to plough the hours in, and the more experienced players, they'll be able to learn the characteristics of the vehicle, whether it's sort of slight understeer on corner entry, breaking out into oversteer, or how the car actually handles its unique characteristics. It's when you learn those that you can get the best racing lines, put it into a corner just right, and get the best lap times. So I definitely want to add that depth, and it's really important that the car's handled in a true way.
For instance, if you had an engine which is down the front, so you have the weight right in the front, it might be slightly easier to play because it's got initial understeer. But as you go through the game, you'll get mid-engine cars and rear-engine cars, which make it a lot more difficult, but ultimately more rewarding.
We're definitely looking at offering a raft of options for actual customisation and letting the player tailor their vehicles. We're not going into massive amounts of detail on that at the moment.
It's really all about making cars sympathetic what they are in real life. So you pull out the key characteristics of what a car should be like, and then we kind of blow them up so you really feel exactly what the car's doing. And that means that every car's got different key characteristics. So they've got the depth, but they've also got the accessibility that we want. And it's that balance which is really difficult to get, but which we've worked hard to really achieve.
I think as developers, what's quite tough for us is because we've got such a powerful physics simulation to work with, sort of industry leading, running at 1,000 hertz in terms of suspension setups. When we first get a car and put it into game, we set it up with all of the real world values, get it handling just as it would in real life. And for petrol heads and people like us that love that stuff, that's immensely fun because we can play with that all day long and really appreciate it. But then at the same time, obviously, we need to make it accessible for people to pick up and play and focus on the fun aspects and not just the kind of geeky petrol head side of things.
The track geometry is very varied throughout the game. So in Chicago, you'll get like deep grates which the wheels have to pop into and pop out, and then obviously you get tarmac tracks which are very much more grippy, and you get camber like in California on the Pacific Highway. You get like a lot of camber, so you see the suspension really working hard to kind of maintain the stability of the car. But we can only really do that because the physics are so advanced, and it allows us as car handling designers to really gives us the flexibility to set up cars the way we want, because they can handle any kind of track, which is really good for us, and it's good for the player as well because they feel much more through the pad.
In the past, we perhaps would have had to smooth out so that it didn't affect the driving and it didn't have sort of bad characteristics. We can have all of that detail in there now, and the game handles it gracefully, and you get all of that feedback through the pad or through the wheel.
Yeah. Like you can drift around the Arc de Triomphe in Paris on cobbles, and then come off and go onto tarmac, and you'll feel that exact difference, not only in like the vibration but in the handling as well. So it's a really immersive experience all around.
Again, going back to the physics, obviously car-to-car collisions, car-to-environment collisions are massively important because they happen throughout the game. Again, an area that our physics programmers have been focusing on. With regard to modelling car-to-car collisions, obviously when cars impact, there are a number of factors that feed into the resulting action, such as the crumple zones on the cars, how rigid the body is at that point, the weight distribution of the car. All of those sort of physical strengths and weight distribution feeds into the car-to-car collisions. Equally, every environmental object in the game has its own accurate physics properties. So you'll have tyre walls that are made of rubber. Each individual tyre in that tyre wall is modelled. So you'll find that if you plough into a tyre wall, obviously that energy from the car will be absorbed into the wall, and you'll have a sort of minimal amount of rebound, perhaps. Whereas obviously if you hit something physical, such as concrete, the result will be very different.
So for instance, if you get hit on the wheels, you might get a tyre puncture, which might lead to the tyre falling off, and then that might lead to you driving on the rim, which will create sparks. So it all leads back into this true feel system, which really makes the game an immersive experience.
Grid 1 as a title obviously came out in 2008. It was all about the race. Some would argue that it redefined the racing genre, definitely made an impact in its time. It's been 4 years since then. The team have just been waiting for the tech to evolve and be in a position to truly do the sequel justice. We're at that point now, and it will be with you in summer 2013.